Fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come. Revelation 14:7.
The hour of God's judgment came October 22, 1844. The duration of the judgment hour of the dead was 83 years, 4 months. Judgment began at the house of God. The dead church was the Roman Church. It had a name that it lived, but it was dead on October 22, 1844, and it remained dead until February 22, 1928.
Another angel followed, saying, Babylon is fallen, Revelation 14:8. The third angel warns, if anyone worships the beast, or his image, or takes his mark in his forehead, or in his hand, he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone. See Revelation 14:9 and 10.
The beast with the 7 heads and 10 horns receives his seat, his power, and his authority from Satan.
The 3 angels have warned. 1. God's judgment hour has begun. 2. Babylon is fallen. 3. Do not take the 666 mark of the beast.
The third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God. The third angel's message is a warning that those who take the mark of the beast in their hand or in their forehead will die. Thus, the command is implied, do not take the mark of the beast in your hand or in your forehead. The beast causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Revelation 13:16-17. This is Bible science. The beast compels people to receive his mark in order for the beast to control who can buy or sell. If you want to continue to buy and sell, to pay your house payment, your car payment, your grocery bill, to continue to work, then you have to comply with the beast's regulations to buy and sell. Taking the mark of the beast is a convenience for you to be able to participate in the world's economy. The beast had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. To worship the beast, all we have to do is to take the number of the beast in our hand or in our forehead. God says, if you take the number of the beast in your hand or in your forehead, you are worshiping the beast. The commandment is, do not worship the beast. If you do, you will die. The 10 Commandments say, thou shalt have no other gods before me. This is speaking of God. To take the mark of the beast is to have another God before our Lord God, our Creator. This is an abomination that will lead to death. People have been buying and selling for generations. They have not had the mark of the beast. They do not have the mark of the beast, but they will have the mark of the beast. Something has to change.
These important warnings are repeated in Revelation 18. Fornicating, Babylon the Great is fallen, Come out of her, my people. Revelation 18, 2-4.
In a historic move, Pope Francis is supporting civil unions for same-sex couples.
First, beyond our borders tonight, Pope Francis endorses same-sex civil unions for the first time as the head of the Roman Catholic Church.
Something has changed. Babylon has fallen because of her fornications. The fornicating priests have been discovered. Their sins have gone viral. And the head of the Roman Church is making provision for their fornication to be codified in law.
Her sins have reached unto heaven. Reward her even as she rewarded you. Revelation 18, 5 and 6.
As the judgment of the dead had been 83 years, 4 months, from October 22, 1844 through February 22, 1928. So, the judgment of the living was 83 years, 4 months, from October 14, 1929 through February 14, 2013, at which time the sins of Babylon reached heaven during the investigative judgment, and judgment was pronounced.
Babylon's judgment hour is over. It is time for God to punish Babylon. By thy sorceries were all nations deceived. Revelation 18:23.
Babylon's final sorcery is the 666 mark of the beast. The first beast in Revelation 13 was the papacy. It had its deadly wound in 1798. Revelation 13 states that the deadly wound was healed. That happened in 1929 when Mussolini restored the head of state to Pope Pius XI. Pius XI also became the head of all the churches. Thus, the beast with the 7 heads was the Roman Church with Popes Pius XI, Pius XII, John 23, Paul VI, John Paul I, John Paul II, and Benedict. Its 10 horns were the 10 American presidents from Truman through Clinton that bonded with the 7 popes. The facts that the horns had crowns indicates that they were sitting presidents. During the reign of Pope Benedict XVI, Revelation 13 transitions from the papal beast to the beast that comes from the earth. That beast is identified by his ability to call fire down from heaven. President Truman did this in World War II when he rained fire down on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan. But that was not the complete final fulfillment of the prophecy. That was the earth beast's identifying feature. The earth beast is the United States. The United States is an image beast. It makes an image to the papacy. When Pope Benedict resigned, the papacy went from being a solo monarchy to being a dual monarchy. The papacy now has 2 popes, Pope Francis and Pope Benedict. The earth beast with the duo lamb-like horns had 2 horns. When the power transitioned from Benedict to America, it was during the reign of President George Bush II. He was the first horn. The second horn was President Obama. The number of the beast is 666. That comes from a title of the Pope. The Roman numerals in his title add up to 666. When President George Bush II became President of the United States, he had the number 666. Count the number of the letters in his name. George, 6 letters. Walker, 6 letters. Bush, 4 letters, but he was President Bush II. That gives him an additional count of 2, making 3 counts of 6 letters each. President Obama, the second horn on the earth beast, had the number 666. The day he was elected President of the United States from Illinois, the state lottery had the number 666. Coincidentally, when you count the letters in the president's name from Monroe, who was the president that joined the Prophetic Earth, the Louisiana Territory, to the United States, from Monroe to Obama, there are exactly 666 letters in the president's names. Thus, the earth beast with the 2 lamb-like horns has the count 666 in 2 different ways. But President Obama was not the last American president, though he was the second horn. If we look at the word duo in Luke 10, verse 1, it states that Jesus sent them out 2 and 2. But when you go to the original text, it says Anna duo. Anna means by, duo means 2. So the word duo is only in the text once, but the King James translators translate it 2 and 2. Other versions say by 2s. When we look at the word duo in Revelation 13, the beast with the duo lamb-like horns, we see 2 horns, Bush II and Obama. We also see 2 and 2 horns, because we had Bush II and Obama and Trump, and now we have President Biden. 2 and 2, 4 horns. And if we study it a little more carefully, it is as though America, the image beast, has 2 presidents, as the papacy has 2 popes. The first president would be President Biden, who is 80 years old, and President Kamala Harris, who is a surrogate. She acts as though she were the president in his behalf. And Kamala Harris has the number 666, as the papacy has the number 666. Kamala has 6 letters, Harris has 6 letters, and her married name that she does not use is Emhoff. It also has 6 letters. Thus, we have reached the time when America is an image beast of the papacy. They both have 2 rulers, 2 popes, 2 presidents. They both have the number 666.
The prophecies of Daniel and of John are to be understood. They interpret each other. They give to the world truths which everyone should understand. These prophecies are to be witness in the world by their fulfillment. In the last days, they will explain themselves.
By thy sorceries were all nations deceived. Revelation 18:23. Babylon's final deception is the 666 mark of the beast.
Do not take the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is linked to actual politicians that are in office right now. We are headed for some really bad times really soon. America changes its monetary system. It may not link to religious stipulations at first. It will be the beginning of the 666 mark of the beast.
The President of the United States is issuing a detailed executive order about cryptocurrency.
Can you say if the United States, can you say the U.S. is committed to provide?
This is an order that is essentially a starting place. I think it is a sign regulations will be coming. There are a lot of requirements in this order for the various departments in the U.S. government to report back. And just given the breadth of this order, I would bet that we're going to see more orders in the future with particular guidance. The U.S. dollar is obviously the preferred method of exchange throughout the world. That our economy would consider also adding a digital dollar, I think, is a huge endorsement to the technology.
Jesus said, "If I have told you earthly things, and ye believe not, how shall ye believe if I tell you heavenly things?" John 3:12.
The beast causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Revelation 13:16-17.
The King James Bible reads like it is an either-or situation, i.e., either the hand or the forehead. But the word translated as or in this verse has other meanings, and 20 alternate translations, and 21 instances where the word is not translated at all. This word is used to compare two actions. One of the alternate translations is in Matthew 1:18, where the Greek word is rendered as before. With that in mind, an alternate comparison is before this, that happens. Here's an example in modern English. And he caused all, both great and small, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand before in their foreheads. Revelation 13:16 alternate.
Some receive a part of the message and reject another portion. Some accept the Sabbath and reject the third angel's message. Yet because they have received the Sabbath, they claim the fellowship of those who believe all the present truth. Then they labor to bring others into the same dark position with themselves. They are not responsible to anyone. They have an independent faith of their own. Such are allowed to have influence when no place should be given to them, notwithstanding their pretensions to honesty. The book of Revelation must be opened to the people. Many have been taught that it is a sealed book, but it is sealed to those only who reject light and truth. The truth that it contains must be proclaimed, that people may have an opportunity to prepare for the events which are so soon to take place. The third angel's message must be presented as the only hope for salvation to a perishing world. The perils of the last days are upon us, and in our work we are to warn people of the danger that they are in. Let not the solemn scenes that prophecy has revealed that are soon to take place be left untouched. If our people were awake, if they realized the nearness of the events portrayed by John, such a reformation would be made in our churches that many more would believe our message. We are God's messengers, and we have no time to lose, for he calls upon us to watch for souls as they that must give an account. Advance new principles and crowd in clear-cut truth. It will be as a sword cutting both ways. But do not be too ready to take a controversial attitude. There will be times when we must stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Present the truth as it is in Jesus. Let Daniel speak, let Revelation speak, and tell what is truth. But whatever phase of the subject is presented, uplift Jesus as the center of all hope, the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. Time is short. Hoarded wealth will soon be worthless. When the decree shall go forth that none shall buy or sell except they that have the mark of the beast, very much means will be of no avail. God calls for us now to do all in our power to send forth the warning to the world. Because of your false ideas, you cannot obtain a right understanding of what is truth and what constitutes the third angel's message. Had this blind obstinacy in you been yielded, you would have humbled your heart and received the greatest blessing you ever had in your life. Oh, what a terrible thing it is for anyone to be deceived and deluded by Satan. We must now put on the whole armor of righteousness. We must be as true as steel to principle, standing steadfastly against every species of corruption. It is this steadfast adherence to principle that is to distinguish those who bear the seal of the living God from those who have the mark of the beast. The Bible explains itself when the book of Revelation is opened, and we are counseled that the third angel's message must be presented as the only hope for salvation of a perishing world. These are the truths that are proclaimed in the third angel's message. The primary meaning relating to the papal beast in Revelation 13 was not that it was wounded in 1798, but the prophecy relates to the papal beast with the wound that was healed in 1929. His deadly wound was healed, Revelation 13:3. The first beast in Revelation 13, that is prophetic of the papacy with 7 heads, is not symbolic of 7 kingdoms in the end time. The Bible, rightly understood, explains that a head on the papal beast is a king, not a kingdom. Daniel had told King Nebuchadnezzar, "Thou art this head," Daniel 2:38. The 7 heads prophetically depict 7 kings. The Word of God is clear, and it is consistent. "Wast thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel? And the Lord anointed thee king over Israel." 1 Samuel 15:17. The 7 post-1929 heads on the papal beast are the Pope kings that have had their kingdom restored to them. Popes Pius 11 and 12, John 23, Paul 6, John Paul 1 and 2, and Benedict. These 7 Pope kings were allotted an hour. In 1 hour is thy judgment come, Revelation 18:10. The hour that these 7 Pope kings ruled was from October 14, 1929 until February 14, 2013, during the judgment hour of the living papacy. How is a judgment hour measured? From a study of the judgment of Adam, it is clear. Adam was told not to eat of the forbidden fruit. In the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. Genesis 2:17. All the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. Genesis 5:5. Thus, for Adam to live 930 years, and for Adam to die in the day that he ate of the fruit, the duration of the day of Adam's judgment was 1,000 years. Beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. 2 Peter 3:8. It is written of God that he hath appointed a day in the which he will judge the world in righteousness. Acts 17:31. Since Adam's judgment day was in millennial time, is a millennial judgment hour based on a 24-hour day or a 12-hour day? Jesus answered, Are there not 12 hours in the day? John 11:9. This is the math. A 1,000-year day divided by 12 hours is about 83 years and 4 months. Moses sat to judge the people from the morning unto the evening. Exodus 18:13. From morning to evening is a 12-hour day. Judgment must begin at the house of God. 1 Peter 4:17. When the judgment hour of the dead began in 1844, the house of God, the Roman Church that claimed to be the house of God, was dead. Thou hast a name that thou livest and art dead. Revelation 3:1. The papacy remained dead for the entire 83-year, 4-month judgment hour of the dead, which started on the Day of Atonement, October 22, 1844, and ended February 22, 1928. Then there was a tarrying time from February 1928 through June of 1929, in which Mussolini healed the Pope's deadly wound. Judgment doth never go forth, for the wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Compare Habakkuk 1:4 and 2:3. When the tarrying time ended, the papacy was alive in 1929, and the judgment hour of the living Roman Church could proceed on the Day of Atonement that came October 14, 1929. The 7 Pope kings of the papacy lived and ruled during the judgment hour of the living for the entire 83-year, 4-month hour from October 14, 1929 through February 14, 2013. When the time allotted for the judgment of the living ended, Pope Benedict XVI resigned in fulfillment of prophecy. Babylon, the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of unclean and hateful birds. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. Revelation 18:2 and 3. Pope Benedict resigned in the midst of the Roman Church's priests' fornication scandal. Then Pope Francis projected images of unclean and hateful birds on the church in Rome that had the birds appear as if they were in a cage. The video is still available to watch on YouTube. The Catholic majority Supreme Court in America, linked to the kings of the earth, made the Roman Church's priests' type of gay fornication a new standard for marriage in America. The king from the earth, the American president, President Obama, praised their decision to promote gay fornication as a form of marriage that he held as equal to God's definition of marriage. The papacy has transitioned from a solo pope papacy with the 7 heads into a dual pope papacy. As ancient Babylon transitioned from a solo monarchy to a dual monarchy moments before it fell, Cyrus the Great, who toppled Babylon, was a type of Christ. Cyrus dried the Euphrates River to prepare the way for the kings of the east, while Babylon had 2 kings. Christ will come while spiritual Babylon has 2 popes. Pope Benedict is 95 years old, and Pope Francis is 85 years old. How long will the dual papacy reign before Christ comes? Is Christ coming going to be put off for many years? Though we do not know the day or the hour of Christ's coming, we do know this: to disregard his warning and to refuse or neglect to know when his advent is near will be as fatal for us as it was for those who lived in the days of Noah, not to know when the flood was coming, as it was in the days of Lot. Fire and brimstone from heaven destroyed them all. Even thus shall be the day when the Son of Man is revealed. Luke 7:28, 29, and 30. Babylon and America's fornication is now as it was in the days of Lot. The coming of Christ, the Son of Man, is being revealed. The focus of Revelation 13 has moved from the solo king papacy to America. America has formed an image to the papacy. America has 2 living presidents, as the papacy has 2 living popes. America has the number 666, like that of the papacy. America is about to implement a revolutionary system to control buying and selling. But America has not compelled anyone to take the Pope's Sabbath in place of God's Sabbath, as did the papacy. With the evidence that prophecy is being fulfilled in our day, there is no doubt that prophecy that is yet to be fulfilled will be fulfilled as predicted. Many who profess to accept the 3rd angel's message and believe the Sabbath truth do not really believe as they profess. Revelation clearly reveals that prophecy has arrived at the image beast that will control buying and selling. The Biden administration is doing the very things that it was predicted to do, but people do not believe the 3rd angel's message. They profess to believe it, but they don't really believe it. The belief is being preached that Christians can accept the new monetary system until it is linked to a command to trample on the Lord's Sabbath. That cannot be farther from the truth. The third angel's warning is, do not take the mark of the beast in order to continue buying and selling. If anyone takes the mark of the beast in their hand, it is an abomination that will make them desolate. They will be doomed. Taking the mark of the beast is a death sentence. God's command is that those who take the mark of the beast in their hand or in their forehead doom themselves. Once the mark of the beast is taken in the hand, whether it is linked to Sabbath violation or not, it cannot be undone. Obey the word of God. Do not take the Biden administration's new cryptocurrency when his administration implements it. Some accept the Sabbath and reject the third angel's message. Yet because they have received the Sabbath, they claim the fellowship of those who believe all the present truth. Will they grow into cowards and be swept away with the delusions of the last days? Leave these precious souls to God's dictation. Be sure the Sabbath is a test question, and how you treat this question places you either on God's side or Satan's side. The mark of the beast is to be presented in some shape to every institution and every individual. Those who believe that America's transition from its current monetary system to its new cryptocurrency is the mechanism that is foretold in the scriptures for the image beast to control buying and selling will not participate in America's cryptocurrency in order to continue to buy and sell. People will take their stand for or against participating in America's new cryptocurrency. Preachers who link the mark of the beast to Sabbath will assure folks that since the transition to cryptocurrency is not linked to Sabbath observance, it is not the mark of the beast. Others will assert that the third angel's message is so clear that yielding to the beast's control over buying and selling will be fatal. Then America, the image beast, will do as it did in the COVID crisis. You remember when America told people not to go to church to avoid spreading the coronavirus? Then America bribed people to get them vaccinated. Lotteries with million-dollar prizes enticed people to get the vax. When that failed, America's gentle persuasion gave way to compulsion. America mandated that certain groups of people had to be vaccinated in order to continue to work. Teachers, law enforcement, public employees, the military, and so forth. The American government manipulated the churches to press their members to get vaccinated. The leadership of the Seventh-day Adventist Church even stood against members that opposed its pro-government, pro-vaccine rhetoric. Will it be any different when people fear that the mark of the beast is America's implementation of cryptocurrency? When people reject cryptocurrency because it looks like the mark of the beast described in the third angel's message of Revelation, the government will switch from begging, pleading, and coaxing to compelling. Those who will accept America's transition to cryptocurrency because it is not linked to Sabbath observance will trust in their own wisdom. They will not be able to opt out. When the American government reassures people that accepting America's new cryptocurrency is the Christian thing to do because it honors Christ's resurrection and does away with the law of works that does not save anyone. People who have not been deceived into taking the mark of the beast in their hand will have to choose between man's law and God's law. The final test for those who were not deceived by the mark of the beast is the Sabbath question. God is leading out a people, but it has been Satan's effort all the way to induce certain ones to set up their judgment against that of the body, and thus lead them away from the body to certain ruin. Thus have self-deceived souls fallen all along the way during the history of the third angel's message. Those who are led by fanaticism will gradually feel in harmony with those who fully reject the truth, and unless they can be arrested in their course, will sooner or later be in the ranks of the bitterest opponents. I have seen how the blind guides were laboring to make souls as blind as themselves, little realizing what is coming upon them. They are exalting themselves against truth, and as it triumphs, many who have looked to these teachers as men of God and have looked to them for light are troubled. They inquire of these leaders relative to the Sabbath, and they, with the object of getting rid of the fourth commandment, will answer them thereto. I saw that real harmony was not regarded in taking the many positions that were taken against the Sabbath. The main object is to get around the Sabbath of the Lord and observe another day than that sanctified and hallowed by Jehovah. If they are driven from one position, they take an opposite one, even a position that they had but just before condemned as unsound. Hitherto, those who presented the truths of the third angel's message have often been regarded as mere alarmists. Their prediction that religious intolerance would gain control in the United States, that church and state would unite to persecute those who keep the commandments of God, have been pronounced groundless and absurd. It has been confidently declared that this land could never become other than what it has been, the defender of religious freedom. But as the question of enforcing Sunday observance is widely agitated, the event so long doubted and disbelieved is seen to be approaching, and the third message will produce an effect which it could not have had before. When Sunday observance shall be enforced by law, and the world shall be enlightened concerning the obligation of the true Sabbath, then whoever shall transgress the command of God to obey a precept which has no higher authority than that of Rome will thereby honor popery above God. He is paying homage to Rome and to the power which enforces the institution ordained by Rome. He is worshiping the beast and his image. As men then reject the institution which God has declared to be the sign of his authority, and honor in its stead that which Rome has chosen as the token of her supremacy, they will thereby accept the sign of allegiance to Rome, the mark of the beast. And it is not until the issue is thus plainly set before the people, and they are brought to choose between the commandments of God and the commandments of men, that those who continue in transgression will receive the mark of the beast. When they go a little farther and say, "You must keep Sunday, and you shall not observe Saturday," then everyone that took the position would have the mark of the beast. Everyone who is deceived to accept America's cryptocurrency in order to continue to buy and sell is going to be locked into the system. They will not be able to opt out when the deception is finally understood. Accepting the mark of the beast is the unpardonable sin in the end time. It is as it had been in the days of Adam and Eve. They could not put the fruit back on the tree. They could not uneat the fruit after they ate it. Those who are deceived and take America's new cryptocurrency in the hand in defiance of the third angel's warning will be dooming themselves. Those who are not deceived by America's introduction of cryptocurrency are the ones that are left with the Sabbath versus Sunday choice. And all we were required to do was to give up God's Sabbath and keep the popes, and then we should have the mark of the beast and of his image. Thank you for subscribing to the 666 Mark of the Beast Tell-All Show, and thank you for sharing this video with others. Together, we will finish the work that God would have us to do.
The prophecies of Daniel and of John are to be understood. They interpret each other. They give to the world truths which everyone should understand. These prophecies are to be witnessed in the world by their fulfillment. In the last days, they will explain themselves.
Fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come. Revelation 14:7. Another angel followed, saying, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. Revelation 14:8. The third angel warns, if anyone worships the beast, or his image, or takes his mark in his forehead, or in his hand, he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone. See Revelation 14:9 and 10. The three angels have warned. 1. God's judgment hour has begun. 2. Babylon is fallen. 3. Do not take the 666 mark of the beast.
The clever devil conceals his plans until he springs the trap. The problem is not with the third angel's warning. The problem is with how we receive it. If it does not fit our world viewpoint, instead of fact-checking, checking the facts to see if things are true or not, the tendency is to ignore it until we see the danger. But with the 666 mark of the beast, those who are deceived into receiving it cannot undo what they have done once they've done it. Paul does tell us, study to show yourself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. 2 Timothy 2:15. Your eternal fate is in your hands. That's right. Our fate is in our hands. It's not up to the preacher. It's not up to anybody but us. God's people will be sealed by the Holy Spirit. The world will be sealed by the mark of the beast. And the 7 last plagues will torment those who receive the mark of the beast. Relationship with Jesus that will see us through whatever comes. We are in for some surprises, and the final events will be rapid ones. This earth as we know it is not going to be here forever. If we put off what we need to do today, tomorrow may be too late.
Babylon's final deception is the 666 mark of the beast. The churches have become as described in the 18th chapter of Revelation. Why are the messages of Revelation 14 given? Because the principles of the churches have become corrupted. Revelation 14:6 through 10 quoted. Apparently the whole world is guilty of receiving the mark of the beast, but the prophet sees a company who are not worshiping the beast and who have not received his mark in their foreheads or in their hands. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Revelation 14:12.